I occasionally get a question or a comment about how I shoot YouTube videos using just a GoPro and a smartphone. So I thought I would make a brief video about how I do it. If you are experienced with video editing, this is not the video for you. I'm talking about just the absolute basics here. Essentially, I'm talking to me from 2 years ago, a complete dummy about video editing and how to do it with a GoPro, let alone a smartphone. I have all the gear that I normally use laid out on the table in front of me, so let's start with that. At the moment, this is pretty much all of the equipment that I use on a daily basis. Going around in a circle, of course we have the GoPro. This is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. I haven't upgraded to the 8 or the 9 yet. I really like the 7, so I want to keep using it as long as possible. A couple of batteries for the GoPro. I have 4 in total. That gets me through a full day. I just have 2 of them here in the display. For audio, I use the Rode Wireless Go microphone. This is the microphone that you clip to your body, and this is the receiver that clips to the top of the GoPro, and this cable plugs the receiver into the camera. In order to do that, I needed this device here, and that is the GoPro mic adapter, because the GoPro itself does not have a microphone input, so you need this device in order to plug the microphone into the GoPro. And I use this special cage. This is the Ulanzi V2 GoPro cage, and I use it because it provides a place to mount the microphone and a special slot for placing the GoPro mic adapter. I'll show how that works in a minute. For carrying the GoPro around with me, my favorite device is this here, which is the GoPro Jaws Flex clamp. The whole GoPro attaches here to the top, and these clamp jaws at the bottom, you can clamp it to various things or use it as a selfie stick. Sometimes I use this, which is the GoPro 3-way grip, which is handy because it is quite a bit longer than the Jaws Flex clamp when you stretch it out. All of my editing is currently done on a smartphone here. And of course over here is a charger for the GoPro batteries. And finally, you need a way to get your video files from your GoPro to your smartphone. And it is possible to do that wirelessly through the GoPro app. I've played around with the app and I found it very fidgety and unreliable and slow, especially for transferring 20 or 30 gigabytes of video files. It just wasn't the way to go for me. So what I do is I take the micro SD card, which is what the GoPro records on. You put the micro SD card into an SD card adapter. That adapter goes into a memory card reader right here, and then you plug that reader into your phone using an OTG USB cable, and I'll show how that works as well. If you are going out shooting video for the day, this is kind of the process. You start with your GoPro, of course. The battery and memory card go in through a door on the bottom. It has a little button there. Press it in and pull to the side, and the door pops open. Your micro SD card fits into a tiny slot that you can see right there. It's not that easy to get in and out. You have to be careful. If you're out walking around, you have to be very careful because it's so easy to drop that memory card and then you lose it in the grass. Push it in with your thumbnail, and then you insert the battery. These new batteries with the blue bar on the bottom are a bit different because every time I put one in and close the door, the GoPro turns on automatically. It didn't do that with the old batteries, and I have no idea. I find it very annoying, and I'm trying to make it stop doing that, but I haven't been able to do it yet. So it turns on as soon as I put in the battery, And I'm just going to turn it off again. Once I have the battery and memory card in place, I put the GoPro inside my handy Ulanzi cage. It has a door on the back, just slides open like that. The GoPro just pops inside and you put the door back into place. And you're good to go. The microphone receiver has a little clip on it right here, and that slides into this cold shoe on the top of the GoPro, just like that. And this cable plugs into the microphone receiver, but as I mentioned, there is no microphone jack in the GoPro itself, and that's where the GoPro mic adapter comes into play, and it slides into this compartment right here at the bottom of the Ulanzi. It's a bit fidgety to get it in there. You have to slide the cable in and then somehow wiggle it out the far side. And there, so as your battery is inside, your GoPro mic adapter is inside, and this twists around, plugs into the GoPro there, and now your Rode Wireless Go cable plugs into the mic adapter, and you're all set. And then you take this microphone, clip it to your shirt or your jacket, or hang it around your neck as I do, and you are good to go. In terms of a grip, I have my own system worked out with a bunch of adapters here, and then a quick release buckle, and the quick release slides into place on the JAWS flex clamp, and now it is ready to go out onto the street for shooting video. Of course, before you can shoot any video, you have to turn the GoPro on, and to show that procedure, I'll just take it off the JAWS flex clamp for a minute. The thing is that when you have an external microphone plugged into the GoPro, you have to make sure that the GoPro is registering that microphone. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and I have a few tips I've developed to make sure that that happens. So normally what I do with this Rode Wireless Go is that I turn on the receiver first. You just hold down the power button, and the Wireless Go boots up, and you can see this antenna-like signal in the corner flashing, and that means it is looking for the microphone, which I have not turned on yet. You hold down the power button on the microphone. These blue lights turn on. The two lights mean everything is good to go. And as you can see over here on the receiver, it is registering my voice, and you can see the levels going up and down. I'll bring the microphone closer to my mouth, and now you can see that it goes up, 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 ba, ba. The good thing about the Rode Wireless Go is that these two devices are automatically paired. You do not have to do anything. All you have to do is turn this on, see that it is receiving a signal, and they are automatically paired and ready to go. So once the microphone is on and everything is working there, then you can turn on your GoPro. Power button on the side, you just hold that down, get a few beeps, and now the GoPro is up and running. One issue with the GoPro display, I find, is that it does not have any kind of a microphone readout. So even though this microphone is hearing my voice and it's registering on the receiver, I can't tell whether or not the GoPro is hearing it or not. I found that if I turn on the GoPro first and then I plug in the Rode Wireless Go or any other external microphone, the GoPro may or may not register the microphone. Most of the time it doesn't. So what I do is I turn on the microphone first, plug in the microphone first, and then I turn on the GoPro. And then, before I do any filming at all, I always do a test. So let's do that now. Start recording. I'll take the microphone. Testing, 1, 2, 3, test. And you can give the microphone a little tap, just to make sure. To see the videos on your GoPro, you have to swipe up from the bottom. And that, by the way, is a big problem with this Ulanzi V2 cage. As much as I like it, it has some issues, and the GoPro sits inside it. It's recessed by quite a distance there, which makes it more awkward to reach the screen. So when you're trying to swipe the GoPro screen, this Ulanzi V2 makes it a lot more difficult. But it worked that time. There's my test. Microphone. Testing, 1, 2, 3, test. And you can give the microphone a little tap. So I could hear my voice coming across on the video, so everything is good to go. And now we are ready to go out and shoot video. I'm so concerned about this microphone connection business that when I'm out shooting with the GoPro, every time I turn off the GoPro and turn it back on, every time I change the battery, every time I put in a new memory card, every time I unplug and plug back in the microphone, I do another quick test video, and I check to make sure that it is recording from the microphone. Seems like a giant pain and a lot of work, but I find it is a lot more work if you go out filming and you come home with 2 hours of video and then you discover that no audio was recorded the entire time. So I think it's a very good habit to develop, to do a little test clip every time you make a change of the system to make sure that the microphone is recording in the GoPro. You've just returned from a day of shooting video out in the world, and now you want to get your video clips from your GoPro copied over to your phone so that you can start editing your final video to upload to GoPro. First thing, of course, is just to open the GoPro, and I find this memory card very difficult to get out, so I generally pull the battery. Just allows better access to the memory card. You push it in and then it pops out. I'm very careful to always close this door. Your instinct is now just to put it down somewhere, but if you do, you'll definitely sit on the GoPro or do something and it will snap off that door. So I make sure I always close it, set it to the side carefully. So now I've got my micro SD card, and it's a game of adapters now, because the micro SD card does not fit anywhere into the phone. So this goes into a SD card adapter, like that. The SD card adapter goes into a slot on this memory card reader, like that, which has a USB-A plug on it, and the USB-A plugs into your USB OTG adapter. OTG stands for on the go. Most phones today have OTG capability, but you should check beforehand to make sure that yours does. This particular OTG adapter has a USB-C plug on it because this phone has USB-C. Older phones might have a USB micro, and then you would need a different OTG cable for that. You would have to check on your own device. So you simply plug in your OTG adapter cable, and if everything goes well, you should get a little message will pop up saying what application on your device do you want to use to transfer the files. At the moment I use File Manager Plus, not a very sophisticated app, but it does the job for me. I hit OK, and the app opens up, and over here you see disk. That is the GoPro, SD card in my phone, and then internal storage on my phone. To do this, you definitely want the largest SD card that your phone can handle. This phone can go up to 512 gigabytes. I was not able to find one of those. I couldn't even find a 256 gigabyte micro SD card, so I currently have a 128 gigabyte card in there. And now you simply click on disk, navigate through the folder structure on the micro SD card, find the files that you want to copy. You can just select as many as you like. Down at the bottom there is a menu system, very familiar from anyone who's operated a computer. Hit copy, navigate back to where you want to copy these files, and hit paste. And the files start copying to your phone. In a long day, I could end up with 30 gigabytes of data, of video clips, maybe 40, and it can take 15, 20 minutes, even a half an hour to copy all the files from the card to your phone, depending on the read-write speeds of all the devices that you're using. But while I wait for it to finish, I just go off and do something else. Once all the video clips from your GoPro are copied onto your phone, you simply eject the OTG cable and the flash drive. Pull that out, and now you are ready to start editing your video. There are a lot of video editing apps for Android that you can use. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. Some of the free ones you can try at no charge, but then if you want to upgrade to the more professional version, if you decide that you like it, then you can pay a fee. I'm currently using something called PowerDirector, which you can see right there. And I don't know where PowerDirector fits in the hierarchy, but it feels like it is one of the more professional video editing apps. It is a full-featured app. Launching PowerDirector is like launching any app on your phone. Simply click on the PowerDirector icon, and it loads the program, loads your settings, and you get the main PowerDirector screen. These boxes up at the top are your current projects. So these are some of the videos that I've been working on recently. And to start a new project, of course, you just click on the New Project button. And the first thing is to give your project a name. Let's just call this one Demo. And you have to choose an aspect ratio. The three options you're presented with here: 16 by 9, 9 by 16, and 1 by 1. For YouTube, you want to select a 16 by 9 normally. And a useful tip is that since all YouTube videos are in 16 by 9 aspect ratio as a standard, it's a good idea to take all of your phones and your cameras, your GoPro, whatever you're using, and set the default aspect ratio to 16 by 9. If you do that, then any video or photo that you add to your video project will fit perfectly inside the screen, and you won't have to mess around with cropping them or ending up with black bars on the sides or on the top and bottom and things like that. So 16 by 9 is your friend, and you should set everything to 16 by 9 across the board, unless you have very specific reasons for wanting a 1 by 1 aspect ratio or a portrait aspect ratio like 9 by 16, or even more of a letterbox aspect ratio. But in general, 16 by 9 is what you want. So you give your project a name, and then you select the aspect ratio, and those two should create your file, and you begin your editing process. The editing screen, of course, is in landscape orientation, so flip your phone around to start working on your new video project. PowerDirector has a fairly standard layout for full-featured video editing programs. Down here at the bottom, this is your timeline, and that is where you build your video project. And here at the top, every one of these squares is a folder on your phone containing all of the video files, pictures, and songs that you use to create your video project. Across the top, you see three icons. The one at the left looks like a little movie camera. That is all your video files. So that is the default selection when you first turn on PowerDirector. And these are all the folders on your phone containing video files. And your phone automatically organizes this for you. The next icon over, it looks like a little picture. And if you click on that, now you get a list of folders containing all the photographs that are currently on your phone. And of course, the third one is a musical note. And if you click on that, then you get all these folders that contain all the songs that are currently on your phone. Many of these video editing apps come with stock video, stock photos, and stock music that you can use in any of your video projects for free. You don't have to get a license for them. So for example, this folder up here called stock video, if I click on that, you'll see all of these videos from Shutterstock that you can use free of charge in your video. You can scan through them and see if there's anything you'd like, anything you could use. PowerDirector also comes with some stock video from a company called Pixabay, and there are quite a few quite useful little video clips here. And you just have to go through them on your own and see if there's anything in there that you like. And the same thing applies to music, for example. There's a music folder here that came automatically in PowerDirector. If you click on that, you see a broad range of folders containing different types of music: blues, classical, corporate, country, dance, techno, on, new age, pop, world. And if you click on one of these, for example, if you click on pop music, you get a long list of pop songs. And these are all automatically available to you because you paid for a professional version of PowerDirector. This does not come with the free version. You only get this with the paid professional version. What you see me doing here, tapping on the screen with my finger, that is how I normally edit all video. It's a very convenient way to do it, and to be honest, it's one of the biggest advantages to editing video on a smartphone, in that you can do it anywhere so easily. You can be sitting in a coffee shop, sitting on a chair, you could be at the beach, you could just be lying down on your bed with your head on a pillow, just holding the phone in your hands like this, and then you don't need anything else. You can just be clicking here, adding items to your timeline, and do all of your video editing right here with nothing more than your phone and your finger. And that is what I normally do because it's the easiest and the most efficient. However, for the rest of this demo, I'm going to plug in a mouse, and I'm going to show you the rest of this process using a mouse, just so that my fingers aren't getting in the way. I'm constantly blocking the screen with my hand here. Plus, you'll be able to see the mouse cursor moving across the screen, and you can see more clearly what it is I'm clicking on. So let's switch to a different view and switch to a mouse as my input device instead of my fingers. Okay, I've plugged in my mouse. You can see my cursor over there on the right. And let's make a simple video. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is add one of our video clips to our timeline down here below. And I put a few sample clips into a folder here that I called Demonstration Clips. So you simply click on that folder, and now we see a list of videos that are inside that folder. 6 of them here, those were all shot on my GoPro, and this one here was shot on my new phone, and you can see it has a little 4K. So this one was shot in 4K, and these are all 1080p. To add a video, it could not be easier. You just click on one of the clips. You get a little play arrow on the right. You would click on that to preview the video if you wanted to see what it was about. Or you can just click on the plus sign, and the plus sign will add it automatically to our timeline. So let's click on the plus sign. The video pops, and there it is. It's right there on our timeline already. I find a rule of thumb that I've developed in my brief time making videos is that it's a good idea to add all of your video clips at once before you go back and start adding music and text and photos and all the other elements. It's best to get all your videos in place, trim them and edit them roughly at least, and get them how you want them, and then to go back and start adding other elements. So let's do that now. We added one video clip, and adding the rest is as easy as clicking, hitting the plus, there it is, clicking, hitting the plus sign, and you just move through all the video clips you want to add. And now they're all here on the timeline, and the program will slowly be working to build thumbnail images for all these videos that you just added. As you can see, some of them still have a green bar here because it hasn't finished processing the new video clips yet. And there we are. We didn't actually have to wait until that process was completed. I just wanted you to be able to see that all the videos we selected are now here in the timeline. So we've added some video clips. How do we add photos? Exactly the same thing. Got a little back button up here in the top left-hand corner. We go back, and now we select our picture icon. And we have all of the folders of photos on my phone at the moment. This is the main camera folder. We'll use that one for now. This is the thumbnail that a little fun thumbnail I made for my last video. Click on the plus sign, and boop, there it is. Added it to our timeline. Let's pick a couple of more. Here is the lime basil juice from the Borderline Cafe here in Mesot. And this is one of my all-time favorite dishes from Borderline, the Shan potato salad. Let's add that. There's my complete meal. There's a photograph of the box of my new phone, the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro. And there's a photo of the cup of iced coffee I bought right after I got my phone. So now that all those photos in there, let's just take a quick look at them. Up here in the top right-hand corner, there's a play button. So you just click on that and you get a preview window, and the video starts to play, and we are scrolling through our pictures. Lime basil juice, Shan potato salad, and of course, you can make this preview image as large or small as you want. This little line here will make it much larger, but we still have our scrolling timeline down at the bottom. As you can see, I can move back and forth freely, but I still have a large image. Or you can make it even smaller, and now we have more room on our timeline for adding more layers. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. This is the default perspective right here. And there's one more. If you click on the photo, you see this icon right there, and that is a standard full screen. Click on that, and now it's full screen, and we can play the video at full screen level. And we're cycling through the photos now. You might have noticed, though, that looking at those photos without music is kind of boring, so let's add some music. This blue line here is what they call the playhead, and wherever that playhead is sitting, that is where whatever editing commands you give will take place. So if I want the music to start with the photos right here, Then I situate the playhead right at the beginning of that photo. And now we go back to add music. On the left here, this icon with a video strip and a music note, that is the main Add Media button. If I click on that, it takes us back to all of the media on our phone. So here we have the folders for video, for pictures. And now we're moving on to the music folders because we're going to add some music. We get a lot of free music from YouTube itself. There's a YouTube audio library. And let's add one of the pieces of music that I use in all of my videos, this one right here, Birds in Flight by Dan Leibowitz. Click on that, and just like the photos and the videos, we have a preview button. If I click on that, we can listen to the song. Stop. And if we want to add it, we just click on the plus sign. And down it goes. So now we have video, photos, and music. So let's click on the play button and see what kind of a video we've created.
I can't really tell on the screen. It's just too bright.
The music has started playing. And now we go into our photos. And honestly, that is it. That is pretty much the whole process. Open a new project, add video files, add photos, add music, and you have created a new video that you can upload to YouTube. So once you're happy with all the elements you've added and you're done with all your editing, you just move up here to this button in the corner, which is the Produce button. I think different video editing apps have a different word for it. You can export the video, produce the video, whatever verb they choose. PowerDirector uses produce video. So if I click on that, we get to the screen where we produce our final video. All these boxes on the right, share on Facebook, share on YouTube, the classic share button here, more output options. I've never used any of those. I assume these produce the video and then automatically upload them directly to Facebook, directly to YouTube. And I've never done that. I don't think that's a very good idea anyway. I think it's much better to produce your video, save it to your phone, and then review it before you upload it anywhere. I wouldn't want to do it directly because it's very easy to make a mistake with a video. For all you know, you've included a clip you didn't mean to include. So it's a good idea, as with everything, the same way you would proofread an email before you send it. Proof view your video carefully to make sure that everything is the way you want it before you actually upload it. So you would generally save to gallery or SD card. So let's click on that box. And now we have some settings that we can choose. We can give a name here. The name is Demo, which is the same name as the project, but we can change that if we want. I'm going to leave that alone for now. And we can select a video resolution. I can export this video in Ultra HD, which is 4K, Full HD, which is 1080p, HD, 720p, or SD, 360p. So that would be standard definition, high definition, full high definition, and ultra high definition. Most of the videos that I make these days are in 1080p. We're going to select that option. And the source video clips in this demo project, they are all 1080p. So we'll select 1080p. And there's another box here for settings. You can choose where to save the file. External storage. That means the external micro SD card that I added to the phone. That's where I want it to go. The bit rate is kind of a quality setting. This is basically how much information is contained in each frame of video. And you can choose between better quality, standard quality, or smaller size. And of course, better quality is always the better option, but that can make a significantly larger file in the end. So depending on the length of your video, you may not be able to choose better quality. You just have to find out for yourself. But this is a very short demo, so we can choose better quality, and then we can choose the frame rate. I don't know much about frame rates. I know that 24 frames per second is kind of a classic film frame rate. Most of the movies you see in the theater are shot at and shown at 24 frames per second. Has kind of a cinematic look to it. Video these days, digital video, tends to be 30 frames per second. That's the standard default, I think. And then there's also 60 frames per second. But we'll just select 30 frames per second. Click OK. We've selected everything that we want for this demo video, and then we hit the produce button, and our phone starts working. It is processing the video. 1% is done, 2%. Depending on the size of the project, this could take 30 seconds, it could take 10 minutes. It depends on the size of your project. And you can see that the name gives you the information that you've chosen. So the file name was demo. We're exporting in full HD, 1080p, and it's an MP4 file. We don't have to wait for this to finish because we don't really need the finished video. We'll just click cancel and go back to our main screen and talk about one or two more things. What we've done with this video demo so far is really all you need to know. It really is as simple as adding video, adding photos, adding music, hitting produce, and then you have a finished video. But of course, chances are that all of these video clips and photos are not quite right. They're not quite the way you want them to be. So you generally need to edit them and make changes to them. And that is a very simple process. All you need to do is click on the item that you want to edit. So we just clicked on a video clip there, and you notice that a large menu has opened up down at the bottom. And these are all the editing options available for that video clip. I'm not going to go through them all, of course. There are way too many, but I can split the video wherever the playhead is sitting and then delete portions of it. I can adjust the volume of that video clip. I can get into the details of the audio and change a lot of features. You can add like filters, adjust the contrast and the brightness, all that kinds of things. And you can do fun things like make it go backwards. You can flip it around, set it in reverse. You can crop in. Cropping is kind of a fun one. If I click on crop, then you can use your fingers to pinch in and zoom in on me. And now, once you've cropped in,
I've never done that. And buying.
You notice that the video plays now, and I've basically zoomed in on my face. I've cropped in on the video, just like you can crop in on a photo. It's exactly the same. Anyway, you can click on any video, and then that same menu pops up. If we scroll down to the photos, you'll see that the exact same process applies. Here is the photo of my lime basil drink, and if I click on that photo, it is highlighted, and now we get a new menu down at the bottom. And these are all the edits that you can perform on that photo. Filters and adjustments and panning and zooming and cropping and rotating, all these things that you can do to this photo. And the same thing applies to the song. Down here is Birds in Flight, and if we click on that song, we suddenly get a new menu, a much shorter one of the different edits that you can perform on this piece of music. And that's essentially what editing is all about. Again, it's a very straightforward process. And I must say that when I started editing video, I was surprised at how straightforward it was. I thought it was much more difficult and complex than it turned out to be in real life. However, you may have noticed that I keep talking about this timeline, but there are some layers to this timeline. That's where I put the video, but there's another line below it and then another line there. And you might have noticed, if we go all the way back to the end of the video, when I chose to add the music, it didn't end up here on the timeline exactly. It's down here below it on a different layer. And this concept of layers is key to video editing. And it actually took me a fair amount of time to really understand how it works. And it was only through experimentation that I really understood it. The basic idea is that this top layer is your foundation, like the foundation of a house. Everything you add to this line, whether it is a video or a photo, that is your foundation layer for your video project. And if you add anything to these layers below it, it's kind of weird that on the screen the layers are below that level, but when you put things in here, you're actually putting items on top of that video. So this is the foundation of your house. The next layer down would be like the first floor that you built on top of your foundation. And if there's a second layer, that is like the second story of a building that you built on top of the foundation. It's actually a lot easier to understand this when you see it in action. Describing it in words is actually a little bit more complicated. So let's stop talking about it and I'll show you how that works. A key idea to layers involves these buttons over here. The one at the top, that's just the home button, and that takes you back to the PowerDirector home screen. The icon below it we've already talked about, that shows this little film strip and a musical note. That is the main Add Media button. And if you want to add anything to your foundation layer, you click on that button. Anything you add through this button, whether it's a video or a photo, will automatically end up in the foundation layer. That's just how it works. You can't put something in the foundation layer and then move it to a top layer, the first floor or the second floor. In order to add something to these other layers, you use this. And as you can see, there's two squares there, and it's like one square on top of another, which shows you that you are putting something on top of a foundation. So if we click on this button, you notice we get almost the exact same icons up here at the top. There's our movie icon. So if we click on that, there they are, all of our video folders. There is our photo icon, click on that, and these are all our photo folders. So you can access your video and folder through the Add Media button or through the Layers button. And if you do it through the Add Media button, it always goes in the foundation layer. But if you click on the Layers button, now everything will end up below it down here. And just to get this out of the way, there's one more icon here, the T, and these are all text elements. So this is where you would go to add words, either on top of the images or wherever you want them to go. But let's look at the photos for now, just to keep things simple. So just to remind ourselves of where we are, we're looking at the video of me walking down the street, and maybe I want a picture to show up over here on the right. Perhaps I am talking about lime basil drink and how delicious it is. So I want to put a picture of lime basil drink right there, and we do that through layers. Click on the layer, click on the photos, go find our lime basil drink, there it is. Click on the plus button, and look at that. The photo did not end up here, it ended up here in layer number 1. And now that we've added something to layer number 1, notice that it also created layer number 2. So you can actually start stacking items. So here's our photo. We can't see anything yet because we're still in our photo folder view. Let's go back to our video. And there it is. There is my lime basil photograph, and by default the program put it smack dab in the middle of the video frame. But we don't have to worry about that because we can click on it and then it becomes highlighted, and now just like on any computer we can grab it and move it around. So maybe we want the photo to be over here or perhaps up here on the top left. Now if we play the video,
there are lots of people out there who buy new.
The photo shows up right where we put it. And if you click on it, you notice that there are some boxes in the corner and then this little symbol here. And these are quite important because all you need to do to make this photo bigger or smaller is grab one of these boxes and pull, and the photo gets bigger and smaller, whatever you want. Move it around, and this icon rotates it. Click on that, and then you can turn it in any direction you want. Turn it upside down, make it bigger or smaller, turn it sideways, put it on a jaunty angle because you think that looks cool, and leave it there. Let's add another photo here and see what happens. We have our playhead right here, cutting through the video and this photo of lime basil juice. Let's go get another photo. Go back to here, and since we have a food theme going on, let's get a picture of my spring rolls from Borderline. And look what happened. It automatically added the photo of the spring rolls to layer number 2. So let's go back to our video, start playing, and
people out there who buy.
There's our lime basil juice just appeared.
A new phone every year, they upgrade and keep up with.
And there are the spring rolls. And you notice that the spring rolls are actually on top of the lime basil juice, which in turn is on top of the video. So there you can clearly see that the video is the foundation, this sits on top of your foundation, and then this one on top of that. So you can start stacking elements up and up and up. Of course, you can do everything to this photo that we can do to the lime basil juice photo. You can make it bigger or smaller, or rotate it or move it around. You just have to click on it and you get the same boxes on the corner, and if you drag those it makes it bigger or smaller, and this circle in the corner will rotate it and increase or decrease the size as well. But there's one other fascinating thing you can do here, and for me, when I realized that this was possible, it really was a light bulb going off moment for me, because I always thought this was such a difficult thing to do, and then I realized how simple it was. So, for example, I've got this photo sitting on top of the video, and I can make it bigger or smaller, but I can grab this corner and make it bigger and bigger and bigger until it fills the whole screen and the video is completely gone. And the advantage to that is that the video, as you can see, is not really gone. It is still playing in the background. It's just that we artificially covered it up with the photo. So now, if we play the video, you'll see that the video will be playing in the background. You can still hear my voice talking, but the photo will fill the entire screen. Let's take a look at that.
There are lots of people out there who buy a new phone every year, they upgrade and keep up with the latest technology, but I've never done that.
And there you go. And to me, that really was a revelation because I had no idea how video editors did that. Maybe I am just a dummy, but when I realized it was as simple as grabbing the photo and then increasing its size till it filled the whole screen, that was really something to me. And I was very excited at that discovery. So those are some of the things that you can do with the magic of layers. And just to complete the set, let's go back and add some text. An interesting thing about text is that it always goes in a layer. So if I click on the main Add Media button, you'll see that there are no text options even available. So how in the world do I add words to this video? Well, you go to the Layers button, which is essentially the same. This is an Add Media button, but this is also an Add Media button, but it's Add Media to the layers. And now there is the T symbol for text. And let's just add something very simple using one of the defaults here. Exactly the same thing as video, photos, music. You click on it and you get a preview button so you can see what this text looks like, and then you get an add button. Let's keep things simple and just add it. Actually, I want to move my playhead a bit and so that it gets added right here at the beginning of the spring rolls. Click the plus sign and look at that. Now we have layer 3. We are like professional editing like crazy over here. We actually have 3 layers sitting on top of our foundation video, and it was just so easy to do. We even have a 4th layer. So we've added a text layer, but it doesn't have any text in it yet, but that's easily taken care of. You just click on it, and now you get a little menu, just like the menu you get for video or photos or music, but with items that are specific to text. The edit item here at the very beginning allows you to change the words, so that's where we'll start. And let's call this spring rolls, of course, because that is what the picture is. The check mark says OK, and it changes to spring rolls. Of course, white may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but if we want to change the color, then we go to Title Designer. If you're using a different video editing app, you'll see the exact same things, but they might use different words for these items. We go to Title Designer, and now we can choose any color we want. Black. And now it changes to black. Red. I'm using my finger now because the mouse wasn't responding very well for some reason. Yellow, green, any colors you like. Let's choose yellow, and then just keeping it simple, let's just leave it right there. And now if we hit play, let's go back a little bit before that point. We'll see.
Every year they upgrade and keep up with the latest technology, but
there it is. We have the word spring rolls on top of the photo because in terms of the layers, this layer is sitting on top of that layer, which is sitting on top of that layer, which is sitting on top of the video. And just like with photos, you can just click on this and drag it around the screen, put it anywhere you want. Let's put it down here in the corner. You can make it bigger or smaller. This is a really funny one because when I first started editing video, I'm so used to choosing font sizes. So I wanted to make the letters bigger, and I looked everywhere, up and down and through the menus. Drove me crazy. I could not figure out how to increase the font size because I would normally click on it, go to Title Designer. Here's the font. You choose the font, but there is no font size anywhere. It just about drove me crazy for the longest time. And then I had my epiphany, and I realized that it operates like anything else. You just grab the box and drag it. And it just automatically gets bigger. So that I thought that was really funny when I finally figured that out. I was so used to selecting font sizes for word processing, I thought it'd be the same here. But no, you just make it bigger. Or, I mean, if we want to get very dramatic, you know, let's rotate it and have it go right across the middle. Spring rolls. And let's play that just for fun.
Buy a new phone every year, they upgrade and keep up with the latest technology. But I've never done.
Just a couple more simple things to round out the video. And for these features, I'm going to stop using the mouse. I still have it plugged in over here, but I'm not going to use it for now. Instead, I'm going to switch to my finger, which is how I normally edit videos anyway. And it is often much faster and more efficient to use your finger than a mouse anyway. So, for example, using my finger, if I want to scroll through the video, I think they call that scrubbing. In editing terms, you scrub through the video. You can just use your finger and then zoom along from, you know, the front of the video all the way to the back, you know, so you just zoom, 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 zoom back and forth by using your finger. And of course, you can also select items with your finger. So I'm going to touch the screen for this video clip. Or maybe I'll pick a shorter one to make it more apparent what I'm doing. So I just clicked on it and now I've highlighted this video clip. And it might be that there is some portion of the video at the beginning that I don't want to include in the final video. Maybe I want the video clip to start here at 46 seconds. And there's two ways you can do that. I'll show you both just for fun. A very simple way is to use the split button. So the playhead is sitting at 46 seconds. There's a split button over on the left. If I click on that, now I've cut the video into two pieces. One piece on the right and one on the left. And it is the part at the beginning I didn't want, so I just click on that part on the left. It's now highlighted, and there's a trash button off on the left. Hit the trash button, and now it's gone. So we have effectively shortened our video by deleting 2 or 3 seconds from the beginning. So that's one way to do it. They call that, well, yeah, you're splitting and deleting part of the video. But you can also trim the video clip, which is very clever. Click on it to select it as usual, and at each side you see a little white line, and those are handles. And if you press on one of those handles with your finger and then move it towards the left, you can see that I'm removing part of the video. I'm effectively making the video shorter, or I can make it longer. I can do whatever I want. And there, it's as simple as that. And you can even go backwards. We deleted the first few seconds of the video, but technically it's not actually gone. So I can click on that handle and then start dragging to the left, and miraculously, all of that video comes back. Of course, something else you might want to do when you're editing a video is change the order of the items. We put all these pictures way at the end of the video, but maybe we want them to go somewhere else. This thumbnail, for example, me being astonished at how amazing my new phone is when I unboxed it, let's move that to the beginning of the video. It's as simple as clicking on it to highlight it, then you press with your finger, and then drag it to the front. Just dragging and dragging and dragging, and now we're at the very front. You let go, and the photo is now at the beginning of our video. And if we hit play, there it is at the very front. I'm going to end this video with one technique that I think of as my most professional technique. Again, it took me a long time to figure this out. Again, I think it's because I am such a dummy and video editing is such a new thing to me. But I started playing around with adding photos on top of the video, and I ran into a problem with photos that are in portrait mode. And let me add a photo just to show you what I'm talking about. Click on Photos. Let's go to our camera folder, and here I have a photo of an iced coffee that I bought after I bought my phone to celebrate. Let's add that, and you see that it appeared down here on layer number 1. So let's play the video.
And buying something like this, whether it's a...
So there's the photo of my iced coffee. Now, just as with the spring rolls, I want to make it bigger and get rid of the video. So I'm happily clicking on it, dragging the corners. But check that out. Because it's in portrait mode, it's in 9:16 ratio. It's not in 16:9, so you can still see the video on the right and the left. If you play it,
and buying something like this, whether it's a laptop or...
There's the photo as I intended, but you can still see the video on the sides. And I thought, well, that's not right. How in the world can I fix that? And it turns out the fix is as easy as can be, and you just have to utilize the power of layers, and something that I discovered in PowerDirector, and I assume in all other video editing apps. Let's delete this photo just to keep it nice and simple. So the photo is gone. So what we're going to do now is add a black box to layer number 1. And to do that, we go to Photos, and down here on the bottom left, there's a little folder called Color Board. Can you see that? That is the key to this most professional and amazing technique. Click on that, and you have a whole bunch of colors. We are going to pick black, and you get a plus sign. And what we are doing, we are essentially adding a black background. So we just did it, and now let's play the video.
And buying something like this, whether it's...
And there it is. We added a black box on top of our video. Obviously this is not going to work, but through the magic of dragging the corners, we can now take this black box, cover the entire screen, and now the video is completely covered up.
And buying something like this, whether it's a laptop or a computer...
And now that we have a black background, now we go get our photo of my delicious iced cappuccino. Hit that plus button, and now look what has happened.
And buying something like this, whether it's a laptop...
There's my iced cappuccino sitting on a nice black background. Now we can increase the size of it. And there we have it. No longer do we see the video on the left and right of the photo.
And buying something like this, whether it's a laptop or a computer...
I mean, this is not a beautiful video by any means. A real video editor would do something much fancier and more subtle and nicer than this. I'm kind of at the caveman stage of put photo here, make big, put words here, and I end up with things that look like that. But that is where my head is at in terms of video editing and imagery. Not very sophisticated. I was quite proud of myself just to figure out how to make the letters bigger and how to insert portrait photos without seeing the video in the background. To be honest, I went on quite a bit longer with this video creation demo than I anticipated. I had hoped to just breeze through it in a couple of minutes and show one or two things just to give the basic idea. But I ended up talking about a few more things than I thought I would. But there we are with our video, with music, with photos, and with text. And that brings us to the end of the video. a complete summary of how I make YouTube videos using nothing but a GoPro and a smartphone. I'm not saying that that is the best way to go about it or even a good way to go about it, but that's how I do it these days. That's the gear that I use and how I fumble my way through the PowerDirector video editing app at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed some of that, and maybe you even learned a little bit along the way. And I'll see you in the next video. In the next video.